When you're able to truly understand soul and you're able to connect with your soul, you see life in a completely different way. Life becomes easier. You start healing at a deeper level because the soul can bring forward truths. We are this beautiful mosaic. And when you think of a mosaic or a stained glass window or kaleidoscope, there's so many different colors and shapes and experiences, and there's so much movement of it. And that's what I want you to think of yourself as a spiritual being, yourself as an energetic being, has all these beautiful facets and all these beautiful colors and lessons and experiences and consciousness. And every single life, you get to add more to that. That's why we come into this life. Hey, you guys, and welcome to Soul. This is a masterclass that I designed to help you to really understand the intricacies and all of the details of your soul and what it means to be connected to your soul and what your soul does in between lives and why it's so important to be connected to your soul and all those amazing questions that you may have or you didn't even know that you had. They're going to be covered right here today. Now, one of the reasons that this is important is because our journey here on life is about our reconnection to our soul. And there are a lot of people who are navigating that in uncertain terms and not even sure if they're connected or not connected. I also see a lot of people who are thinking that they're connected to their soul and that the decisions that they made where their soul told them to do this or their soul said to do that, and then things don't unfold the way that they want them to, or there's a lot of stress and then they're questioning it. So my goal and my intention for this masterclass is to help you to get more confident in your connection with your soul and to really understand if you are connected with your soul or if you are not. Because sometimes we can think we're connected to our soul because we're on a high. Like our human is like, life is good. This is amazing. And I'm doing this and this and this. And that is not your soul. That's not being connected to the soul. There's so many different aspects of the human. So today we are going to dive in order for you to truly understand that. So if you are new to me, welcome. My name is Carrie Cardozo. I'm a master psychic, energy worker, healer. I do business consulting as well, but we talk all things psychic, energy, spiritual, and absolutely soul related. Now, I absolutely feel so honored because over the course of the last 11 years and way before that, but in the last 11 years, I have had the privilege of communicating with thousands of spirits and souls, and including mine and other people's, and souls that are still here and souls that are departed. And I've communicated with Source, and I have gathered so much amazing information. And this is one of those things that I don't care where I am, what I'm doing. If you were to rattle off questions about soul and our experience and what life is like, in between lives for souls, and any question you could think of about soul, I could answer in a second. I feel as connected to souls and understanding that information as I do like being able to tell you what shirt I'm wearing right now. It's so familiar to me. One of the names that one of my clients had given me years ago, and I actually went by this name for a long time, and still to some people I do, is I called myself the soul prophet. And the reason I did is because I have this amazing gift and this amazing ability to see your soul in a way that many other people aren't able to do it. I can see why you're here and what you're here to do. I can see your entire blueprint just by looking at you. I see people's souls before I actually see them. That has allowed me to help people on so many different levels, from understanding what they're doing in life to helping them build businesses and to help them to really do the deeper healing work that's necessary in order to achieve the things that they desire in this life. And when you're connected to your soul, your entire life changes. I know from my own personal experience, before I was connected to my soul, I felt really, I struggled in life a lot. And not only did I struggle and did I feel like I felt disconnected, I had a lot of questions. And it wasn't like I was on this journey being like, I have to connect with my soul. I just know at that point, I wasn't necessarily actively listening to my soul. I wasn't necessarily feeling connected and feeling guided and feeling like I was doing the right thing. And in that time period, I struggled. I questioned what I was doing. I actually got cancer, ended up getting divorced. I felt like such a failure in life. And I even went through some of the most traumatic times in my life. Now, those traumatic times didn't happen because I wasn't connected to my soul. I don't want you to think that. But the struggle that I had, the way that I felt, the way I was navigating life at that time, feeling like things were just hard, feeling unfulfilled, feeling frustrated, bouncing from thing to thing, that absolutely was accredited to not being connected to my soul. But when I started this soul connection journey 11 years ago, and I dove deep into my own work and that own connection. And I understood so many different things, from the spirits I was connecting with to the departed loved ones that I was channeling for myself and for other people, for all the conversations that I've had with Source. It has completely changed my life in every area of my life and in every aspect, not just my life, but also how I view life in general. And I think for me, it's one of the biggest things that I see for people. We live in a world where there is a lot of chaos. We live in a world where there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of tragedy, there's a lot of illness, there's a lot of frustrating things that happen. But when you're able to truly understand soul and you're able to connect with your soul, you see life in a completely different way, and you show up in life in a completely different way. So this isn't just for you to be able to connect and get messages and really understand soul. It's for you to understand life and to be able to live and navigate life differently, because that's when things completely change. It's also when you're connected to your soul, there is this level of healing that happens that you don't even have to facilitate. So I'm not saying don't do your healing work. If you know me, anything that we do, any program that I run, any course that I teach, I'm all about doing your healing work. But there is this magical thing that happens when you're connected to your soul. I know that some people struggle, some people feel exhausted, some people feel worn down, burnt out. And not that any of those things can't happen even when you're connected to your soul, but when you're connected to your soul, things just magically start happening. Life becomes easier. You start healing at a deeper level because the soul can bring forward truths. The soul shows you and shines a light on what needs to be addressed, and the soul makes sure that you are navigating life on the journey that you chose and that you planned for yourself when you came in here. Okay. So I want to dive into, I have so much information to share with you guys today, and I want to dive into all of the details. And some of this stuff you might know, some of it might be different for you. I'm also at the very end, I'm going to take questions, not channeling questions, not channeling for anybody, but just general questions regarding soul, maybe something that I missed. One of the things that I always say to people is, because of my connection to the spirit world and because of my connection, because of the level of psychic that I am, this stuff seems completely normal to me. It is the way that I live my life. It's the things that I talk about. Like if I say something to my children, even anybody around me, I was saying something to one of my employees the other day, and she was like, well, you did choose us, right? In your soul journey. Like everyone just starts to really understand, like I live life as if I was living, as if I was soul, with all this information. It seems so familiar to me. So there might be things that I don't even think about sharing with you. So if you have questions, please be sure to put them in the chat box. I have a lot that I'm going to answer, but if there's things that I miss, I'd love for you guys to put that in the chat box so I can answer that for you. So let's start off right at the top with what actually is your soul, because a lot of people misinterpret that. And here's the nitty-gritty of it, is that we have different layers of energetics that are on us at all time. And your soul is not your full energetics. Your soul is an aspect of your energy. It is a higher frequency of consciousness that exists within inside of you. It's part of your energy. It's part of your consciousness, but it's also separate. So your soul is this bundle of energetics that has a programmed consciousness within it. It's connected still to your higher self, and it exists within inside of you. It is the identity of who you are. So our soul exists within inside of our body. And there are people that say, like, your soul is outside your body, it's not within you. And it is actually within you. I've also heard some people say the soul surrounds you and your body's on the inside. I absolutely do not agree with this. When you look at energetics and you read it, the soul is within inside the body. For most people, the soul is this little tiny ball of energy and consciousness, okay? Expanded consciousness, like unlimited consciousness that is connected to this life your soul has. Your human consciousness is like a fraction of that consciousness. So it's this little tiny, for some people, this little bundle of energy that is stored right in our torso. It can be a little bit lower for some, a little bit other, but most of the time you can access the soul between your throat chakra and your heart space, or the top of your solar plexus. So right at the bottom of your rib cage, right in here is where the soul normally can be found if you're connecting to energetics and you're looking within. That soul does have an opportunity to step outside of the body if something tragic were to happen in your life and your human isn't coping well, and maybe your human's having a complete breakdown. Your body isn't supporting you. Maybe your thoughts are really all over the place. The soul absolutely can step out of the body and it'll hover right next to it. It is not disconnected. There is always, I want you to think about it as like this umbilical cord that is always connected to your soul. You can't lose your soul. It's not going to run away from you. It is not going to leave you. You're not going to forget it. I don't care what you're doing in life. I don't care where you are in life. That soul is always going to stay with you. So the soul resides within inside of the body. And every single person has a soul. I know there are some psychics out there and some spiritual teachers out there that say only like a fraction of the population actually has a soul and is like a main player. But I disagree with this. Every single person I have ever come in contact with, all the information I have ever got from asking is that every single person has a very unique, distinct soul that is here for a very important reason. So that soul resides within inside of us and we're always connected. The problem is that when we incarnate into this life, there's a lot of excess noise. So there's a lot of beliefs that are instilled upon you. There are a lot of the situations that you experience. There can be a lot of tragedy. There's certain things that you learn. There's certain limitations that you choose to come into life. And because you're in this physical body with all of this excess noise around you, we lose connection with our soul. So we start to not hear it. We don't lose connection in the sense that that umbilical cord is severed. It can never be severed, but we lose our conscious connection with our soul. So we are consciously not hearing our soul. We are consciously not listening to it. We are not responding to it. And sometimes we're not even aware that it's there. And even if we know it's there, it's almost impossible to connect with. And we choose this. We really do choose this. In coming into this life, we choose certain situations, we choose certain experiences in order to have that disconnect and that level of disconnect. And one of the things that you'll see is that there are children, most children, including yourself, when you were little, were much more connected to your soul. You might have talked about spirit guides. You might have talked about past lives. I hear a lot of kids who talk about past lives. You may just know things. You may say things that sound really good. You oftentimes, as a child, will know what you're supposed to do in life. And that's one of the things that I will say to people. I'll say, remember when you were little? What did you like to do in life? What's that one thing? And not all the time, but a lot of the time, when you're truly connected to your soul, you'll see that when you find what you're meant to be doing in life, it's very similar to what you did or talked about doing as a small child, okay? So when we come into this life, all of those outside forces create this mind that we have. And this mind that we have has a lot of noise inside of that. And that noise becomes very loud. And that mind consists of the beliefs. It consists of our limitations. It consists of our fears. consists of the ego, and it also consists of all the things that you're taught, all that knowledge that is impressed upon you from parents to society to school, and all of that space, all of those things are taking up space within inside your head. And as all of that space is being taken up, it leaves little to no room for the soul to come forward. Now, the soul is well aware of this. And one of the things that I want to dive deep into right now is the soul's planning for coming in here and what the soul actually does on the other side. So, your soul's existence doesn't just begin when you enter life, and it doesn't end when life ends. Your soul forever exists. If you were to pass, or anybody who's passed, I can connect with them forever. Literally forever. You can name somebody who died hundreds of years ago, and we can connect to them. We have the ability to find it. That soul never goes away. The exact signature, the exact energetic frequency is always there. So when the soul is on the other side, it's always available for us to connect to. But before the soul comes in here, the soul has a plan. And from my understanding, the best way to explain it, and again, I'm explaining it in the way in which we understand as humans, okay? Because souls are energetic. Souls are just energy, as well as everything else on the other side. And the way in which energy works, the way in which energy communicates, the things in which energy does is very different than the way that we do things. So when I come home from work, and I do work outside the house sometimes, not all the time, but when I come home from work, I sit down at the table with my family. We all talk about what we did during the day. We all talk about, our experiences that we had, or things that we want to share, or plans that we have for the future. We have these conversations. Souls don't actually need to do that. If we were souls entering into the room, we would just be. Our presence would give all of that information. The minute we walk in, people know everything about us. We don't have to have those full-on conversations. So the way I explain the afterlife and the before life, I'm going to explain it in a way that you will understand as if it was humans going through it. But again, I want you to remember it's not exactly like that. Okay. So before we come in here, our soul, our higher self, okay, our higher self is the energetic source of your existence. Every single person has a higher self. And that higher self is where all of the souls from every single existence that you have had go back to. And that's where they hang out. That's where they reabsorb to. Even though they reabsorb, you can still connect with each individual soul signature. So let's say that we've had hundreds of past lives, but let's say that I've had 5 past lives, okay? Just for simple purpose. And in one past life, I was a male. Or 2 past lives, I was a male. One, I was Henry. One, I was Joseph. One, I lived to 100 years old. One, I lived to 75 years old. In a past life, I was Rebecca. In another past life, I was Catherine. And then this life, I'm Carrie. Each life, I lived to a different age. Each life, I experienced something different. Each life, my soul signature was a little bit different. Little different. If you looked at Rebecca in this life, her signature, an energetic signature, would not match mine. Now, there would be definitely some similarities, and there's definitely some consistent energy that goes from place to place to place. And generally speaking, in each lifetime, the human gets more conscious because the soul has chosen different experiences. And in each lifetime, the soul's goal is to grow and expand more and more and more. But every single time these souls pass, they go back into we'll call it into the spirit realm, and they reabsorb into the higher self. So your higher self is existing in the spirit world with all of your incarnations within inside of it. And then the higher self says, I want to grow in a different way. I want to expand in a new way. And I'm going to send this bundle of energy, this specific soul, down to earth to incarnate, to have those experiences. And so this bundle of energy is created. It is created from your higher self, and it sits down with a guide. And it decides, and it sits down with its master guide, and it has all the information from the higher self. And it decides, in this life, I want to experience loss. I want to experience growth. I want to experience what it is like to impact the world. And it has a whole list of things that it wants to experience. It also has a whole list of other souls that it wants to interact with. It also picks its parents, its time of birth, its place of birth, its gender. In 99.9% of the time, it picks its name. And this is all written out in what we call a soul blueprint. And all of this information, it's not actually a piece of paper that is handwritten out. It is an energetic signature that is held within inside the soul. And when the soul incarnates, the soul goes into the energy, goes into the baby. When it's in the mom's belly, it holds the entire blueprint. And that soul knows what it's going to experience in life. It remembers who it was in a past life and the past lives that are connected to this one. And that's really important to understand. The soul that has formed, created, was created from your higher self, has a very specific reason. Does that soul have memory of every single past life and experience that it has? More than likely not. The thing that soul holds, this unique soul that's in your body right now, has a remembrance and an energetic connection to every single solitary thing that has happened in the past, that has happened between lives, and that could potentially happen in the future that's related to you right now. You right now. So if you had a life that had no impact, nor needed no connection to this life right here, you wouldn't remember it, but your higher self would, and you can connect to your higher self. And if the higher self so chooses, we'll share it with you. Or if you have the ability, you can access that. So in coming in here, the soul already has a ton of things that it has decided that it chooses to experience. And I will tell you what, those things are not always what humans would call good things. Some souls choose to experience a life of wealth. Some souls choose to experience a life of like pure joy. Some souls choose to experience a life of popularity or fame. Some souls choose to experience a life that there's abuse. Some souls choose to experience a life where there's illness. Some souls can choose to experience a life that holds all of it, that has tragedy and abuse and fame and riches and beauty and fulfillment in every aspect. But each individual life is designed by you, by your soul, by the being, the energetic being that you are, that chose to come into this life at this exact time, to those exact parents, with those exact siblings. Like souls who are twins, they choose that. Souls who are adopted, they choose that. Souls who come to parents who abuse them, they choose that. And this is not always easy to hear, but it is absolutely the truth. I have never met a soul, never. And I've channeled with thousands. I've channeled children who were killed in school shootings. I have channeled children who come in and are very sick. I have channeled with children who come in and choose to pass very soon. I have channeled with children and adults, okay? Souls who have been sex trafficked, abused, murdered, who have had the most beautiful, elegant life that us as humans would be like, that's like the perfect little life. All of it. There has not been a single one who has told me that they didn't choose it, and it's absolutely okay. They're okay with it. This is what they wanted. This was the experience that they needed. And this is the hardest things for humans to understand. And this is what keeps us from getting the true information that we need, is because we don't want to hear those things. It's because we don't want to hear that this innocent little soul that we think is innocent, and they're not always, because remember, they're unique souls that come in. They have certain programming and certain energetics that they hold, but this unique little innocent child, that something terrible happened. And the reason we think it's terrible is because we only understand it from our human perspective. We only understand it from the way in which our human can understand things, and that is very limited. And if we can't understand things and can't process them and the way that the soul needs us to understand, our brain fills it in. And our brain tells us what's actually right. Our brain tells us why something's happening. Our brain tries to make sense of the things that can be completely nonsensical to the human. And that's where we get the false information from. That's where we think we're connecting to our soul to get that information. And it might not even be about us. It might be about our children. It might be about our families. It might be about our parents. How many times did you hear, and I've even seen a psychic say this, that a soul got lost along the way, or I forgot what they called them because it's just not true. That a soul, there are certain souls, I've heard a psychic say, that they're like wayfarer souls or something like that, or black sheep souls, that they're born into the wrong family accidentally. And it's just not true. There's not a single person that's born into the wrong family. Children who are born into a family and then a wayward, you're right. Children who are born into a family and then adopted, they were supposed to do that. They wanted experience with both souls, both parents, or both mothers, or both fathers. And they're supposed to. They were always meant to be adopted. Always meant to be adopted. Children who are aborted are always meant to be aborted. I have spoken to so many children who either were miscarried or aborted, and the souls knew. I can remember one of my best friends was pregnant, and when she came over, she was debating as to how this baby, what was going to happen, what was going to unfold. And I remember that baby saying to me, I'm not staying this time. I'm not going to stay. She thinks I am. She wants me to, but I'm not going to stay, but I'll be back. And she was right. That little girl did not stay. Okay. So this is really important to understand is we get to choose this as souls. Every single experience that you have, these big experiences, birth, death, a lot of things in between, your soul has orchestrated. Now, your soul isn't choosing everything. As a human, once you come into this life, all rules are out the window. Now, there are absolutely certain things that are predestined. They're fated. We call those fated events. Those are events that your soul says, no matter what, I need to experience this, this, and this in life. However many fated events that you have depends on your soul, depends on the journey that you chose here. Some people can have absolutely no fated events in life, and those are very unique souls. And some souls can have a heck of a lot of fated events. But understanding what is fated and what's not fated can absolutely change your life. I've seen a lot of people chalk up poor human choices, and they're human choices. They're not soul choices, and saying, it's just fated. This is just what I have to do. And they feel very limited in life. When you experience a fated event, there is this energy of calmness, even in the chaos, even in the chaos, even when things are like mass chaos. Tragedies happening, something terrible is happening to you, you become really calm. I will never forget this story of this woman. She spent I want to say she spent at least 20 to 30 years in jail. She might have even spent 50 years in jail. She spent a really long time in jail for something she didn't do. And she tells this story that she, even in the midst of the fact that she didn't do it, and she eventually was released because they found DNA evidence. She was like, it was too long ago. There wasn't like DNA evidence. And when they could actually test the DNA, they realized she had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. She was framed. She had small children. Her children ended up, it must have been like 30 or 40 years because I know her children had grandchildren. She had missed the growth of her children, her grandchildren. She had missed so many experiences in life. And she said she had absolutely come to peace with it. She was fine with it. She knew that she was supposed to be there. She knew she didn't do it, but she knew this was part of her experience. And she decided to lean into that, to the experience that she had. That, my friends, is a fated event. And then you can have other people who are in jail who just feel like, oh my God, this is terrible, because they weren't necessarily supposed to be there, because the decisions that their human made put them there. Some people can say it's fated, this is where I end up, but understanding and being able to connect to your soul is going to help you to understand, is this fated or is my human making poor choices? Does my human keep doing things that I'm really not supposed to be experiencing or didn't choose to be experiencing? And you get to choose that. Your human gets to decide that. And that's the beauty of being human, is you have your free will. You get to decide these things, but it also creates a lot of little pathways or a lot of little detours on that journey that you've created for yourself. And one of the things that I love to make sure it's very clear is there is this spiritual saying that you'll never miss anything that's meant for you in life. And I actually 100% disagree with it. You will never miss anything that you've manifested. So whenever you're in alignment for, you will get. So everything that always shows up in your life is meant to, for sure. But there are absolutely things that I've seen that souls could have done, that souls had on their blueprint. It wasn't fated, but it was very important. It was like, I want to do this. I want to do this. It wasn't those like, life can't go on unless I do this. But it's one of those things that the soul is like, I want to choose this, 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 and this, and this. But their human chooses differently. And they get to, I've communicated with souls who have passed and they do have regrets. They do say, I missed out on stuff. I wish I did this. I should have done that. And they can see it from the other side. They can see exactly what they've done. And that's what happens when souls pass. When they get to the other side, God doesn't evaluate you. God doesn't judge you. Source doesn't say you did this, you did that, you hurt this person, you experienced this. Because sometimes those things in life where you do hurt somebody, those things in life where you do something bad, and I am not giving you permission to do something bad. I am not giving you permission to hate on somebody, nothing like that. But we have these things called karmic balancing. And karmic balancing is normally between souls. It's normally between two souls. And when there's a drastic karmic balancing, and it can be between one soul and a general population, it can be anything, but souls are supposed to face duality. And there are souls who come here to create that trauma, to create that diversity, to create that pain, because the souls who are experiencing it asked to experience it. So when we get to the other side, these mediums and these psychics who say that God evaluates you as to whether you were evil or good or you did the wrong thing or the right thing, it's just a bunch of BS. It is absolutely not true, because source is not sitting there. God is not sitting there. However you want to evaluate it, however you want to relate to it, God is not sitting there saying, you did wrong, you did good, you can come to the spirit world or heaven and you can't. It is absolutely not like that. It is a very dynamic, intricate relationship and connection that all these souls have, and it's all working together. So when you get to the other side, in between lives, you sit down and you evaluate what you did for yourself. You look at your soul blueprint, but you immediately remember it. As soon as you pass to the other side, you immediately remember your soul blueprint, and you immediately see how you've impacted people's lives. And you immediately look at the relationships that you chose to have, those certain souls and those soulmates and those soul families that you wanted to connect with and do specific things. You see if you did them. And you look at how you handled certain situations, and you looked at how you treated certain people, and you look at how you responded to the way you were treated by other people, and you do your own evaluation. You don't judge yourself the way that humans judge themselves here. It is not like that. You just look at it with this opportunity to learn, and this opportunity to understand, and this opportunity for growth and for depth of who you are. And then you get to decide what your next life looks like. Okay. And when you're in this soul form, when we go back, you pretty much basically incarnate back with or remerge back with your higher self. So the higher self is the one that's doing the evaluation. Your higher self is understanding. Now, people can still connect with that individual soul aspect. It's still there. But there is this merging back with that higher self. And that's when so many of the lessons are understood. So many of the experiences are really looked at and evaluated. And, you see, you might go through an experience here. Like I had an experience 11 and a half years ago, most of you know, where my fiance passed away. My partner died. He died. And when that first happened, I was so angry. But even in that moment, there was these moments of peace within inside of me and this moments of truth. And I knew that what was happening was supposed to happen. And I kept getting these flashes of, it's okay. It's absolutely okay. And I had many years of a journey of understanding why did that happen, of first being angry that it happened, not understanding why it happened, and then needing to understand why it happened. And at the point that I'm in life right now, I know why it happened. I absolutely 100% know why it happened. I know why our souls were connected. I know why we had this joint experience together. And I totally resonate with it. I'm okay with it. I've learned so much from it. Now, when I get to the other side, I'm going to understand it at an entirely different level. I'm going to understand it and at a soul level. I'm going to see the full picture of it. I'm able to see the extent of it and the full picture at which my human will allow me to in this life. But when we get to the other side, we see everything so clearly, and we see everything in a completely different way and a deeper understanding. And that understanding is what expands our consciousness. Those lessons in that growth. So the way I shifted, and I want you to think about experiences that you have had in this life, because this is not unique, okay? But the way that I navigated from being in complete despair to anger and frustration and sadness and everything, from understanding, feeling like he was taken away and we were being punished, all the way to realizing that it was the biggest gift I've ever been given in life. And not because he was a bad person. It wasn't gifted because I was in an abusive relationship or anything like that. He was not abusive, nothing. But to be able to go from I'm being punished and life is over to that was the biggest gift of my life, and my life truly became what it needed to be after he passed. That's the consciousness and the growth that my soul needed. It's only part of the growth that I experienced here, and that will shift my vibration on the other side. The whole goal is our higher self is looking to continue to raise its consciousness, to grow and expand, to be more powerful, a higher frequency, to eventually get to the same vibration back as source. In every single experience that we have, that we incarnate as and have those experiences and learn those lessons and shift our consciousness and be able to live at a higher frequency, allows our higher self to grow and expand and raise its consciousness and to learn to get back to its full capacity to be at the same level and the same vibration as source, because ultimately we all have the ability to do that. We all are source energy and we're all connected. But as unique spirits, as unique individual energetic beings, we desire to have these experiences so we can grow and expand, so we can hold all the facets. It's like I heard somebody describe it like this. I did not think of this, but I heard somebody describe it as like we are this beautiful mosaic. And when you think of a mosaic or a stained glass window or kaleidoscope, there's so many different colors and shapes and experiences, and there's so much movement of it. And that's what I want you to think of yourself as a spiritual being. Yourself as an energetic being has all these beautiful facets and all these beautiful colors and lessons and experiences and consciousness. And every single life you get to add more to that. That's why we come into this life. And we get to add more to that in order for us to truly get to the level of consciousness and the level of energetic vibration that we as individuals are looking to get to in each incarnation. And you have had many, and you will more than likely have many before. Not every incarnation has to be on Earth. There are other incarnations on other planets. Normally, you do have a set period of time that you incarnate on Earth for a very specific reason. And Earth gives us the greatest duality. Earth is we are the dumbest beings, is the easiest way to put that. We have the least amount of consciousness here. We really do. And so we choose to come here to experience a vast separation, not just from source and not just from our being, but even from ourselves while we're here. even from our families while we're here, even from other people while we're here. We have this vast separation, which allows us to learn things that we wouldn't be able to learn on other planets and other places and in other incarnations. So Earth really does that for us. So when we choose to incarnate, whether it's on Earth and we'll do Earth for a set period of time, and that's different for everybody, it's a certain level that you want to get to and certain experiences that you want to have on Earth, or whether you're incarnating on another planet or, as a higher frequency being or as something different, each of these experiences that you have helps to grow and expand the energetic being that you are. And we call that your higher self. So it helps to expand that higher self. Okay. So what does the journey here actually look like? And what does it mean to be connected to your soul? So you ultimately come here to learn, to experience, to grow, and to be. And that's the biggest thing. There's a lot of people who get caught up in the learning. They're like, well, I'm here for an experience. I'm here to learn. And you come to a point where you are no longer here to learn. Like, we're always learning and we're always growing. But life is supposed to be this beautiful experience, this amazing experience, no matter what it looks like. And the way we ultimately experience that is through that true connection with our soul. So in order to truly connect with our soul in our greatest experience that we get to have here, aside from that true connection back to self, where you really feel like you are connected to soul. And when you're truly connected to soul, you're also connected to your higher self. So you're connected to the highest expression of who you are. Then you get to share that with the world. Then you get to share that. And that's what truly changes people. But in order to actually connect with our soul, there's a couple things that are important that you do. For one, you have to be aware, you have to heal any of the things that are getting in the way. So if you have extreme anger or extreme sadness, any really powerful emotions, even if you're like hyped up on like, oh my God, life is so good and life is so great, and you're running around like trying to do everything, that will also keep you disconnected from soul. So these extreme emotions, good, bad, right, or wrong, oftentimes are very much produced by the human. The soul holds an energy of peace and of calm and of reassurance and absolutely joy and happiness, but not to the extreme level. That's a human response to it. The soul is very content. The soul is very much connected back to truth. So the soul will feel very peaceful and very calming when you're connected to your soul. Ultimately, we want to find that place within inside of ourselves. So we want to do any of the healing work that helps us to let go of either the extreme emotions on either level, and as well as helps us to let go of those limiting thoughts or that knowledge that we have. One of the things of today's day and age that keeps us so disconnected from our soul, and I will preach this until we start changing our ways, even though that's not my purpose, but I speak about this a lot, and I truly believe this, is that, and it's been a true experience in myself, several of my clients, as well as several of my children, is that the way in which we are raised, and especially here in America, I can only speak for America, I don't know for other countries, is that we are prided, we are celebrated, we are encouraged to get as much knowledge and information as possible. The more information you have in your brain, the more you're thinking, you're rationalizing, you're scheduling, you're planning, you're doing, you're in action, you are also disconnected from your soul. So we start children right away on teaching them what we think they should be taught. We start programming things. We give them all of the information that they need, and there's only a certain amount that your brain can hold. And we teach people how to live. We condition people what to think, how to act, how to respond. We've even created an AI to make sure you respond correctly and that you write the perfect copy and that you write the perfect way, because the teaching that they did is not good enough, because they're trying even harder to get you to conform. If you look at, and I'm not going to go into a lot of details on this, but if you look at the structure of schools today, they were structured around a jail. Schools were structured in order to keep people in line and to keep them thinking what they want them to think. And it has just gotten worse over the years. So part of our job as a human, if we want to connect back to our soul, is to get rid of all the stuff that you were taught. Is to stop trying to think about things. Stop trying to figure things out. Stop storing some of the useless knowledge in your head. And the reason it's useless, and I will even show you in my lifetime, so I can remember, and maybe you guys will remember this, I'm sure you will, is I remember when I was in second grade, my teacher was like, we were like, can we use calculators, or third grade, whatever. And the teacher's like, do you think you're going to be walking around with a calculator in your pocket? You need to know this. Do we need to know that? No, we don't. We don't need to know it. You also don't need the dates of certain things that happened in history. Like, why do you need those dates? But we're tested on it. You don't actually need to know the capitals of every single state. You can look that stuff up. You can look at any of that stuff up. The more information and information that does not serve you and does not help you that you store in your head. I took AP Calculus my senior year of high school because that's what you did in order to get into the Ivy League schools, because I went to an Ivy League prep school. I went to an all-girls prep school. Do you think I have ever used AP Calculus in my life? I took AP Bio. Have I ever used it? No, I'm not in the medical field. I don't need it. Although I am a medical intuitive, but I don't use anything that I learned there. So we have so much information that's stored here. And what do our humans do? We are naturally taught to seek out the right answer, to find the right answer in the knowledge that we have. And that will keep you disconnected from your soul, because your soul is down here. But you're programmed to go right to your brain. You're programmed to figure it out. You're programmed to have an answer. You're programmed to keep yourself safe, and keeping yourself safe gives the answer. So in order to connect to your soul, you have to get out of your head. I'm not telling you have to forget everything that you know, but forget the way you were taught and the things that you were shown to do. And instead of trying to figure things out, drop into your heart space, not into your emotions. Your soul is not your emotions. That is not how you figure out whether something's right or wrong. It is how you feel, but it's not your emotions. It's the response that your body has, not whether it makes you scared or makes you happy. That's not a response from your soul. The way your body experiences it is a response from your soul, not your emotions. Your thoughts, your emotions, the knowledge that you have, most of the beliefs that you have are not from your soul. They are from your conditioning and your upbringing. So you want to be able to understand what those look like and understand where those are within inside of your being and where you lean into them, when they're activated, when they're turned on, because that is going to help you to understand when you're connected to your human versus when you're connected to your soul. And again, we don't want to lose the human. You chose this beautiful human for a very important reason. We're not trying to lose the human. We're trying to invite the soul into life. Okay. So our soul is held in the silence. It's held in that peaceful moment. It can give you any answer. It has so much information, but your mind has to allow the information to come through. And we find that connection by shutting off the mind, turning off the emotions, by shutting out the outside noise, by being comfortable being connected to your body, and by finding that spark deep within inside your chest that actually is your soul, and then sitting in the energy of your soul. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make right away is as soon as they connect to the soul, they start rambling off questions. I want to know this, and I want to know this, and I want to know this, and I want to know this. They haven't even connected fully to the soul, and they're trying to ask questions. And what happens when you ask questions? Your human mind wants an answer. And if there is no answer, your human mind will make them up. And if your human mind doesn't make it up because you've learned how to silence it, which is the most beneficial thing that you could possibly do, is learn how to silence your mind and to quiet it and to stop it from giving answers. If you learned how to do that, you'll just hear nothing with all those questions until you've created this connection, this intricate. I want you to think about it. And I see people make this mistake with guides as well. So this is a little guide information as well. When you meet some random person, you just rattle off questions at them. You're not just like, oh, hey, Becky, blah, 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 blah. Expect Becky's just going to be like, oh, yeah, let me just open up. Well, some people do, but generally speaking, no. And you don't build relationships like that. When you want to build a relationship with your soul, you connect. You sit in silence. You sit in nature. You sit and just be still. And you're going to start feeling this activation within inside of your chest. When we give our soul attention, when we give it energy, it gets bigger. So that little tiny spark that I said was right here gets to be bigger and bigger. And then it's going to be more familiar to you. So as you're traveling through life, as you're navigating things, as things are happening, you're going to feel that little spark. You're going to feel that little like flutter of yes, or that recoiling of no. Because the soul is with you at every single moment. The soul is always responding to every question that you have, to every experience that you participate in, to every option, to every choice. The soul is always participating. Problem is that the human is leading. We want the soul to lead. We want the soul to be expressing itself. We want the soul to be saying, yes, no, no, thank you, not now. Let's do this. Let's go there. I want to do this. And a lot of people will say, I know, but my human has desires too, and it absolutely does. But if there's one thing I can promise you with absolute certainty, I 100% guarantee this, that even if your human has these desires, your human might have a desire to travel to a certain place, to own a certain thing, whether it's a bag or a car or shoes, or make a certain amount of money, that two things are absolutely true. For one, if you connect with your soul, those things will be far less important. Far less important. They just won't be important because the soul brings that fulfillment. We desire those certain things because we want a level of fulfillment. The soul brings that. When you reach, and number two, when you reach that level of fulfillment with your soul, anything that's meant for you, anything that's possible for you is absolutely going to happen. Absolutely going to happen. Now, I also want to remind you there are certain experiences that have to happen within inside your life. That's what's held within inside your blueprint, okay? But those things that you desire to manifest, they normally come with the connection to your soul. So instead of trying to manifest all of these crazy things and trying to build and do all of these things, trying to make decisions in your life, and I'm sure there are a lot, if anyone's like you, there's a lot of decisions. Instead of trying to navigate all of it, just connect with the soul. Just find the time and the space to connect with your soul because your soul holds all of this information for you, also brings pure fulfillment. And one of the biggest questions that I see people have, okay, and if you agree with this and you have this question, you can comment below and let me know. And part of the reason we have this question, and this is the question that so many people ask me, a lot of people ask me, and more so they used to ask than they do now, is what is my purpose in life? And for good measure, for one, our human wants to feel that fulfillment. And we know that if we're doing the thing we're supposed to be doing, we will feel fulfilled. But our soul also wants to feel that fulfillment of our purpose. Our soul comes into this life not just to expand ourselves, not just to learn, not just to experience certain things, but to truly collaborate with the rest of the world. And our collaboration is our purpose. Our collaboration is the whole reason that we are here, is to interact with all of these people and to have all of these experiences and to leave our mark on the world. And every single person has their purpose. And although a huge part of your purpose, the number one purpose that you have, is absolutely to connect with your soul, because you can't fulfill any of your other purposes unless you do. Now, you can think of a purpose and you can just do it. It's absolutely fine. But when you're truly connected to your soul and you're doing your soul's purpose, it's an entirely different level of existence. So when you're able to connect with the soul, your purpose becomes super clear. It is a no-brainer. It is absolutely at the top of what you're doing and everything you're led by. When I understood what my purpose was, and the purpose gets to evolve and change, but when I truly understood what my purpose was, there was no plan B. There was never like, if something didn't work, I felt like something was failing, there was never ever another option. I didn't question what I was going to do in life. I didn't question what my future looked like. I don't question how I'm going to have the money to retire. I don't question, any of those things at all, because I truly understand what my purpose is. And when you understand that purpose, it's again like that energetic imprint, is everything in the future becomes clear. Not just because I'm a psychic. It's because you have this deep knowing, because your soul holds all that information. That information is stored inside of you. And when you tap into that, when you truly understand that, everything opens before you. Everything begins to be shown to you. Now, one of the biggest challenges for people is to understand their purpose. I was having a conversation with one of my friends in my driveway last night. And she's like, I don't even know what to do. She's struggling between jobs or thinking about jobs and leaving a job and possibly doing the other. And she's like, where do I even start? And one of the things that I have seen is that people feel so disconnected in this life. They feel disconnected in so many things that they're doing. And there's so many different options. There's things like human design that are based on, your time of birth and all this, and it tells you what your purpose is. But when I looked at my purpose with human design, my purpose is like the incarnation of love or something like that, the love something. That means nothing to me. Literally nothing. Nothing that anyone has said that is related to my birth chart, that is related to my human design, that is related to my sign, whatever it is, I'm a Gemini, has ever made sense to me. They just don't align. They don't feel good. It leaves me with more questions. And I've met a lot of people like that. And one of the things that I was given about 4 years ago now was this beautiful, deep understanding and this channeled guidance around what our souls are meant to be doing here in this life. And they're called it's your soul purpose, but it's called your soul designation. Every single person has a soul designation. Every single person comes here with something very specific they are supposed to do in this life. And in that designation, it's not just you're here to impact the world in a very specific way. It is also helps you to understand why certain things unfold in your life. It helps you to understand your soul deeper than human design ever could. Because it's not human design to me, when I look at it in the energetics, it's not so much soul as it is your human. It's a human design. I know they teach about it as soul, but it's not. I know your birth chart, again, it's not that soul. It is that your astrological signs, it's not the soul. There is nothing out there, not any of the anagrams or whatever they're called. Any of those things, none of those tell you about your soul. Soul theory does. Soul theory is a way of being that I channeled 4 years ago that helps you to understand the makeup of your soul and why your soul experiences certain things, why your soul acts the way it does, why certain things happen in your life. It is basically human design for the soul, and it's totally different. And soul theory is something that I have shared with so many of my clients. It is a mastermind that I have that runs the existence of your life. It is a mastermind that you join once in your life, and you have access to all of the channelings that I do, and I am continuing to do channelings around it. And it gives you the blueprint of your life based on your soul's designation, based on that identity, that makeup of your soul. And it shares with you why certain things happen, what healing you get to do, what you're here to do, how you can do it, what you're supposed to be learning, so that it takes the guesswork out of it, so that it takes the mind chatter and the questions and the doubts and the trying to figure it out. Or am I connected to my soul? Is my human chiming in? Are my desires chiming in? Are my beliefs chiming in? Versus, is my soul communicating with me? It teaches you exactly what you need to know to better connect with your soul and to understand your journey here. It is the blueprint of your journey without having a personalized blueprint done. It is your specific blueprint. Soul theory has been this really deep thing that is connected to my heart that I channeled. And this is the year, I cannot even tell you, every year I build upon soul theory. And this is the year that they have been like, soul theory has to be the center focus of what you do. So our souls choose a specific designation when we come in here. They say, I want to learn this. I want to experience this. And my soul, the energetic makeup of my soul is here to do this specific thing. There are 5 different designations, and every single person is a part of one of those designations. Understanding and channeling this information has not just changed my life. It has helped me to understand so many things, but has also changed so many of my clients' lives. I have one client who was what we call a frequency handler. And this helps to explain things. You ever see those really, really, famous people who just can manifest everything? And they're like, it's super simple. You just do this one thing and you're going to become a millionaire. And it seems like it was so easy for them to become a millionaire. And it was so easy for them to literally, they're like, I don't know, cars and money and houses just fall out of the sky at them. I'm being dramatic, but you get it. They're a very unique soul type. They're called frequency handlers. Not everybody was born to do that. Not everybody's soul is here to do that. They're here to do it for a very specific reason. They have very specific childhoods, and the way that they were raised and the childhood that they experienced that that soul chose creates that situation, and the energy that they hold unfolds life in a very specific way. And I know people will come to me and they'll be like, how come it's so easy for people to manifest? And then I'm over here struggling, and all I'm asked to do is every people come to me who need healing because you're a healer of the planet. That's why. That's your purpose here. Not to be manifesting millions. Now, does it mean you can't make millions? Absolutely not. But you have different vibrations that your souls are holding. When you start to understand this, it lets go of the frustration. It helps you to put your focus on what you need to be focused on. I know people have come to me that they've been following these huge manifestors and people who have millions and millions of money, all the frequency handlers, they have been following. And they're like, I'm so frustrated because no matter what I do, I can't do that. And the minute I show them what they're supposed to be doing, the minute they understand, things actually open up and they're able to manifest because they're supposed to do it in a different way. Every soul designation navigates life in a different way. Every soul designation should be running their business in a different way. Every soul designation has different experiences, different levels of healing, different levels of connectivity, different interactions that they have with humans, different things that they should be doing. And not only does your soul designation, I was working with somebody just the other day, and she was like, oh my God, I have these really weird experiences. And I was like, yes, it's because you're a conscious awakener. And she's like, tell me more. And I said, your job is to bring forward vast information that people have never had before. She's like, oh my God, this is why I'm getting all these downloads. I'm like, it's exactly why you're getting all those downloads. Exactly. So not only does it tell you what you're supposed to be doing here, it helps you to understand your gifts. It helps you to understand why certain people show up in your life. It helps you to understand how to activate those gifts, why certain guides show up in your life. It's literally the blueprint for existing. Now, it was really special to me because I didn't relate to human design. I didn't relate to my astrological sign. I didn't relate to the birth chart that was given to me. And if anything, somebody read a birth chart for me, a little one. It was little. It was like, hey, have this birth chart reading. It was when I first started my business back in 2016. I had no money. And I was like raising my hand for every free thing. And I was like, I'll have you read my birth chart. The things that she said in that were so wrong. They just didn't resonate with me. They didn't come true. They didn't happen. And I felt so disconnected. Any single time somebody's tried to do a human design reading for me, I'm just like, I don't even get it. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't feel right. And people will explain it. They'll say, well, it's because you've actually done your healing. So this is like the non-healed version. This is like, if you're a human, this is what you need to do. Soul theory doesn't have that. Soul theory, I've not met a single person whose soul theory doesn't just land with them, because it's understanding the soul. It's understanding your soul makeup and what your soul came here to do and experience, and how the human is seeing that, how the human is living that life. Is the soul and intuition the same or connected? Your soul is the reason you have intuition. That is such a great question. Yes. So psychic abilities is also connected to your soul. Here's how I see them. When we talk about intuition, it's because you're connected to the information that your soul has. Okay. Your soul holds that blueprint. So when you're using your intuition, you're getting information from your soul regarding you, or the experiences that you're having, or the situations that you're navigating through, the direction you should go in life. That's intuition. What people mix up all the time is they mix up intuition and psychic abilities. Psychic abilities is when you get information about other people that's not related to you. Meaning, like, you can get information about your spouse or partner in relation to you because your soul knows you have a contract with them, and your soul knows them and the experiences you're supposed to have. So you'll get that. But like a client that you have, or somebody that you're randomly seeing on the street, or some download that you get for somebody else, that's your psychic abilities. Intuition is connecting to the energy within inside of ourselves. Psychic abilities is connecting to the energy outside of yourself. And if you connect to your soul, if you are connected to your soul, okay, for one, you absolutely have to have an intuition. It's mandatory. It has to happen, or you wouldn't actually be connected to your soul. And your psychic abilities should also start opening up, because your soul is energetic. And in order for you to connect with your soul, you have to be able to connect with energetics. And when you're able to connect with energetics, you should absolutely and can expand and to connect to energetics outside yourself, that's what makes you psychic. Now, the opposite is not true. So there are psychics and mediums who are absolutely not connected to their soul. And the reason they work is because they have a direct connection to any outside information. I've met a lot of psychics and mediums who actually cannot connect to their soul. But the other absolutely has to be true. If you connect with your soul, you absolutely just automatically start opening your psychic abilities. Okay. But having psychic abilities doesn't mean you're connected to your soul. Okay. I hope that makes sense. And a lot of people use intuition interchangeably, like intuitive when they really mean psychic. It's really just for a comfort thing and a societal thing. Society has taught us that the word psychic is like bad and scary and everything. Like I heard a preacher the other day, it just happened to come on my feed, that he's saying that psychics communicate with the devil, but intuitive people are fine. And it just makes no sense to me. So a lot of people use the word intuitive when they really mean psychic. It doesn't matter what you call it, but that's my understanding of it based on the energetics that I see, based on watching the energy flow. So I hope that helps. This has been so amazing. I'm so grateful for you for joining me. I am going to post the replay for this. And if any other questions come up, comment them below the replay and I will join in and type out the answer if things come up regarding this. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I hope to see you inside of Soul Theory. Bye, guys.